All right. Welcome to another episode of Connecting Politic. We're here with a special guest. Please introduce yourself by telling us your name, where you're currently located, and your favorite snack.
How you doing? I'm Errol B. Williamson Jr. I'm currently located in the Maryland, D.C., and Virginia area. I live in Rockville, Maryland. My favorite snack, cashews.
Nice. Raw, roasted.
I like them lightly salted with Himalaya salt.
And are these from like a special store, a special brand? Or?
Nah, I usually get them from Target. They're actually pretty good.
Nice. And so you get them from Target and it's already slightly salted?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Do you remember your favorite food as a child?
So my family's from Jamaica. So my favorite food as a child was, the New York take on beef patties. Where they would bust them open and put mozzarella cheese in them, and then warm them back up, and then put it in a cocoa bread and a ting. I was my move right there.
Nice. Yeah, I can see how that's heavy. So what's your favorite meal now as an adult?
You know what? This is gonna sound really crazy. I just turned 49. I love a really good salad. Like a really good salad with like arugula and spinach and kale and a lot of nuts and raisins and all of the other stuff, vinegar and oil, and maybe like a fish protein, like a shrimp or salmon or something like that. That's heaven for me. I mean, I eat a lot of other stuff, but that is like really, really good to me.
Yeah. Well, when was the last time you had that?
On Saturday.
Nice.
I went to a Chopped and just busted down.
Nice. What's your fondest memory from childhood?
When I was 4 years old, I got a Pac-Man Carvel ice cream cake, and I got the 12-inch with the Kung Fu grip Geronimo doll. I can still see that.
Nice.
And a big Lego set. I thought I was in hog heaven.
What age was this? You said 4?
I was 4.
Wow. I mean, I can imagine you didn't do anything for the rest of the day.
Nah, I just literally, my mom, she made this thing that it was not goulash, but that's what she called it. It was basically like ziti noodles and ground beef, but not really like a spaghetti sauce, but like a red sauce. And it was sweet and spicy. Had a little brown sugar and a little bit of pickle pepper sauce.
Mm.
And then like she made some croissants and put garlic butter on it. That was my meal. And then I ate like at least a quarter of that cake, playing with my Legos and my Geronimo and my other 12-inch G.I. Joes.
Wow, 12-inch. You were the man back then.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Do you miss anything about being a child?
Do I miss anything? Not paying bills. Shit.
I think that's the number one answer when it comes to that.
Yeah, not paying bills. And just having that like pure, unadulterated innocence. You know what I mean? Like just pure fun. I grew up in the projects in the South Bronx, but like you would like go to the like little local park or whatever, and you may not have had much, but you and your homie could have 2 sticks, and you could be like pretend that they're lightsabers or like they're swords, and you're a swashbuckler or whatever, or pretend it's a gun, and you're playing cops and robbers and all that other good stuff.
Yeah. What were you like in high school?
So I was a really big cult of personality. So I was a jock that was a nerd that beatboxed, sang, and rapped, as well as played Dungeons and Dragons with the crazy kids. I learned how to surf in high school. I went to high school in Florida, so I wasn't like the straight jock. I was like the jock that had AP physics and calculus and all that other stuff. But I was also in the band. I was just a weird dude.
Yeah.
Like I wore a tuxedo kilt to prom.
Dope. Where did you get the inspiration?
So I've always been like a huge James Bond fan, like massively huge. And so like just seeing different scenes from that and just wanted to do something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just picture a black kid with a tuxedo, shirt and top with a black watch, kilt on, with the high white socks, the knicker socks, and the patent leather shoes with a high top fade with 3 cuts in his eye in 1989.
This is in Florida?
Yeah, when I lived in Florida, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Do you still have pictures from prom?
I don't, you know what? So I have pictures from when I went to prom my junior year. I don't have those pictures from my senior prom. My mother passed away in 2001, and I went to see her right before that, and she was going to help me try to find the pictures in the house. And I think they were in like this storage bin. And unfortunately, my younger brother, I think he may have discarded them with a bunch of other things. I have been looking for those. Yeah. But as an old dude, I still want to get another one of those tuxedo sets because I think they're just dope. Yeah. You know, especially when you see a black dude in it, he knows how to rock it properly.
Yes. How do you think your childhood? You know, you mentioned you were like you didn't fit into any box essentially, and so how do you think that helped groom you into the person you are today?
Like back then, like especially like coming from New York to Florida, you know, I moved there in middle school. And so, you know, I dressed different. I had a stronger accent. My parents are West Indian. So, you know, going to a predominantly white school where we got bused, you know, to another school, it just made you appreciate all different types of people. You know what I mean? So like, I got to hang out with the surfers. And when I was at ROTC, I wanted to learn how to surf and boogie board. I never was good at roller skating or like skateboarding, but I still hung out with those kids. And then like the kids that lived in the projects, I lived in the projects when I lived in Florida. I mean, in New York. So I hung out with those dudes that, you know, had the gold teeth in their mouth and, you know what I'm saying? And just like being intertwined in all those different subcultures, it helped me to navigate like this thing called life, not necessarily being pigeonholed in like one regard.
Yeah. What would you say, you know, you mentioned your parents being West Indian. What would you say are some of the most important lessons you learned from them?
Hard work, dedication, you know, the value of $1. Although I've made many missteps with that, being Americanized. But yeah, and love of family, love of your culture, you know, love of your blackness, love of all people from the diaspora. Yeah. Good food.
Yes. What surprised you the most when you left, you know, when you left your parents' home?
You know what? I would really say, I don't want to sound arrogant, but nothing. Like my mother gave me this declaration, like right before I graduated. She was like, you have 3 options: school, military, or a job. But you got to get out of my house when you graduate. And I like literally, my mother worked at Bethune-Cookman College. It was called Bethune-Cookman College at the time. And I lived in the dorms during that summer and this fall, and then I joined the military. So I was never really like surprised about anything because like I always understood like how to pay a bill, and you know my mother was really big on those, you know, the foundational life skills, as well as like back when I went to school, like in junior high, you had to, especially in Florida, you had to take this thing called the wheel. It was home economics, driver's ed, shop, and then like an agriculture class. And if you didn't pass that, you took it your 9th grade year. If you didn't pass that, you couldn't go to high school.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, They should consider bringing that back.
For sure, because these kids now can't boil ramen noodle water.
Indeed. What are your favorite things to do for self-care?
Say that one more time.
What are your favorite things to do for self-care?
Oh man, a good haircut, a good facial, a manicure, a pedicure. I try to get a massage at least once a month. Good music, a good book, and believe it or not, I mean it involves two other people, but hanging around my daughters is a lot of self-care for me. Just to like watch them grow and manifest in their greatness, it's just enriching to me.
Yeah. You mentioned a good book. If you were to write a book, what would it be about?
So I am in the process of trying to write a book. So my moniker on Instagram is The Art of the Gentleman, and I think that that's gone away. It would be about that from so many standpoints, from just standpoints of like general etiquette of a gentleman when interacting with other gentlemen, with interacting with ladies, when interacting in social settings, both formal and informal, what to wear, what not to wear, what fork to use, what glass to use, what conversation to have, what books to read, what books not to read, how to engage in a myriad of conversations,
Yeah.
So it'd be something like that, like a big self-help book, how to manage interpersonal relationships as well as familial relationships and romantic relationships and work relationships.
Yeah. What do you do in your professional life, and is it any different than what you imagined doing as a kid, or what you dreamed about doing as a kid?
So now I basically am the director of the state of Maryland for a title company called Smart Settlements. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a stockbroker, and I did that. I fulfilled that. I did investment banking and private wealth management. I never thought that I would be in the real estate space like I am, and I really enjoy it because, I don't think of my job or what I do as work. I think of it as fun stuff that I do that I get paid for, because I work with a really good friend of mine that I've had for 30 years, and the leadership team is great. And I don't think of it as work. It's just something fun that I happen to get paid for.
Yeah, that's the best. Is there something on your bucket list that you want to do or learn?
I really, really, really want to go to Australia. That's a long ass flight. I'm 6'4", 265 pounds. So you got to put your money in the bank and get a business class flight. I can't be in economy plus. I got to be able to lay flat. That's one. Point two, I take my daughters and their mom, that's 4 people in total. So that's about, at minimum, $4 or $5 grand a piece. So I got to get my money up and be able to deal with that long ass flight. So in terms of places to go, that's one of the places I really want to go and stay for like 2 weeks. Really just explore the indigenous Aboriginal people there. In terms of like professionally or passion wise, I really would like to have like a really affordable, true bespoke clothing line, but one that is affordable and that is not like, some of these places that, do made to measure. I mean, like a full bespoke experience that just takes from all cultures in terms of how to make a proper garment in terms of a suit and a shirt and knitwear and casual wear. Like if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I probably would still work with the settlement company, but I would really go out of my way to have a brownstone in DC that was like a fashion house and basically smoke cigars on the deck and just do that. Excuse me, my daughter's bringing me my food. See, this is what my daughter's made for
Nice.
today.
The meal of a king.
I need a fork, honey. Yeah, they take care of me.
Nice.
They take care of me. So they use HelloFresh. Thanks, babe. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good rating on Yelp.
Get out of here. Yeah. So those are the joys of my life.
That's dope. That's dope. Let's do a deeper dive on this affordable bespoke. So how do you envision this? Like what do you consider affordable for bespoke?
So I know that there's like, okay, so you can go to a Tom James who calls themselves bespoke and spend on average in 2020 $1,000 on a suit, right? But then I know from my travels and going to fabric mills and to fashion houses in Italy and Hong Kong and South Korea when I was in the military, in terms of the workmanship and the craftsmanship, it doesn't require that much expense. Now the fabric is the fabric. Like you can't really negotiate on the fabric, but the actual craftsmanship with so many out of work craftsmen, you know, from the New York Garment District that had a passion for making clothing. I don't really think a fully bespoke suit with the full experience, fully basted, all that other stuff should really cost more than $1,000. You know, especially in today's environment where you can go online and get one for $250. Now it's not fully bespoke, but you know, it's custom enough. It's made to measure enough to where you kind of would be cannibalizing yourself. But then I don't think you should spend, you know, like going to Oswald Boateng, who I love, but his suit started $3,500. That's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there's no knock or diss against him because I would pay that just to have one of his suits. But I'm talking about for a cat that's fresh out of law school, fresh out of business school, that wants to look good, you know, and then also have like a rewards program. Like, you know, the more suits that you buy, you know, the better price point you get. And some of these places do that, but like really have a rewards program where, you know, you buy X amount of suits, you get them at this discount, you buy Y amount of suits, you get like a nice overcoat, you know, on the arm, or you get, you know, a nice couple of sweaters or whatever. From that perspective, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Is there anything you want to unlearn?
Unlearn?
Yes.
I think I am unlearning it as we speak. You know, I'm former military, volunteered for service, obviously. There used to be a TV show on cable called Newsroom. And there's a scene when one of the anchors is talking to these young students at this university about America being the greatest country. And then he started, the anchor guy started like breaking down why we're not the greatest country, because we're this number in infant mortality, this number in science, math, blah, 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 blah. I really want to unlearn all the stuff that was taught to me and taught to our children from the standpoint of what America is and what it isn't. I'm a big proponent and acolyte of Jane Elliott, and I'm paraphrasing. She says, if you were taught in the United States, you were given a lie, and that America is inherently racist, because they don't talk about like its original sins and all the things that we've done, you know, to form this nation, and delve into other nations to try to have them be in the same democracy or faux democracy that we're living in. And so, you know, like I really want to unlearn and dismantle like the Constitution and, you know, the political system and the Electoral College and just, you know, all the sexisms and homophobia and xenophobia and racism that we have in this country. Just unlearn those things, because they're so ever present and omnipresent in our country. And that's what I miss about being a kid. Like when you ask me, like just the pure innocence, you know what I'm saying? There's a myriad of videos of a little black kid and a little white kid holding hands, and they don't know that they're black or white. They just know that they're buddies.
Yeah.
You know, I saw this one video on social media where the little black kid got like a fresh Caesar and the little half moon in his head, and this little white homie told his mom, like, I want to get a haircut like his. And so the white mom took the white child to the black boy's barbershop, and they gave him a fade. And he was like, look, we're twins. You know what I mean? Like, that's just so beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the things that I'm unlearning, and I wish to unlearn and make sure that my daughters and any youth that I can put my hands on don't learn.
Yeah, well, that's good. Have you learned anything recently that changed your perspective on a subject, idea, or product?
It's a subject and an idea that, like, well, I learned a couple things. One, there is a portion of America, you know, between 30 and 40% that are just utterly, unadulteratedly racist, xenophobic, homophobic, just every phobic you can think about, that have an unyielding willingness to learn and or change. It's ingrained in them. And even when the people of color or people that are gay or lesbian or that are from immigrants try to work in their own best interests, just because they're gay or lesbian or, you know, from a different country or immigrants or they're Black or Latino, they don't want that type of support or resource. That's one thing. And then two, by the same token, I have found that there is a myriad of non-people of color, you know, specifically after the George Floyd incident, that now really get what it is to be Black and or brown in America after watching a human being have his life snuffed out after 9 minutes and some seconds, and really understand that, you know. And it's been very refreshing to me. I know you know the rapper Everlast from House of Pain. This was before the George Floyd incident, if I'm not mistaken. You know, he just went through this like 10-minute like diatribe, like, how can you be mad when like your people, when your people came here by choice? These people were brought here in chains and had over 400 years of slavery and Jim Crow and segregation and all those things. They were lynched, they were raped, you know, deprived of their name and their religion and their history. And then they went to defend the country in every major war. And when they came home to defend other people's freedom, they didn't have freedom when they came home. You know, we've only had the right to vote for barely 50 years. So, I mean, he just broke all of that stuff down. And then the thing that he said that was, you know, most enriching is that, and they're not angry, they just want equality. You know what I mean? I had an older white lady ask me the other day, I had on a t-shirt that says, I am not an angry Black man. And I was sitting down talking to one of my homies, and she was like, may I ask you a question, sir? And I was like, yes, ma'am. She was like, why are you not angry? And I was like, excuse me? She's like, I'm reading your shirt. She was like, why aren't you angry? She's like, I'm angry for you. And I said, you know, the God that I serve, he's still working with me because I listen to trap music and cuss. But the God that I serve, you know, doesn't allow me to be angry about people's fears of me and they don't know me. You know what I mean? Mm. You know, D.L. Hughley said this statement, and I'm paraphrasing, the most dangerous Black person resides in white people's imagination. You know, if you go back to the continent of Africa, you know, African people with melanin, heavily melanin in their skin, are the most loving, kind, endearing, forgiving group of people on the planet. You know, there's been plenty of books and narratives of when colonizers came to the continent of Africa. You know, there were plenty of times when the Africans outnumbered the white colonists by 100 to 1, and they never really attacked them. They ingratiated them. Look at the Native Americans, you know, they ingratiated the pilgrims that came here and helped them, you know, grow corn and feed them when their harvest was light. And so I always tell people that the melanin that we have gives us that ability to forgive, never forget, but forgive and move past those transgressions. I hope that didn't take too long to answer your question.
No. That was beautifully said. You think of any advice that you would give your younger self?
From a financial standpoint, stop blowing money on bullshit. That's point one. Talk less and listen more. Be mindful of people misrepresenting your passion for being the angry black man. And there was a time in my life when I was an angry black man, good, bad, or indifferent. Focus more on my walk with the Creator. Drink more water. That's about it.
Nice. So the first thing you mentioned was financial, but that was an advice you would give your younger self. What's the best financial advice you received, or just the best advice you receive about money?
Pay yourself first, meaning invest in yourself first. If that goes from, you know, maxing out your 401k if you work in corporate America to the highest amount the federal government will allow you to have. You know, if I'd have done that, you know, when I first joined the Army, I had no bills. I just had, you know, I slept in the barracks and had 3 hots in the cot that gave me a uniform. If I'd have maxed out, you know, the 14% that I could have put in my 401k at the time, I'd be a millionaire. You know what I mean? And then and I wasn't saying it jokingly, like drink more water and get more sleep. You know, I learned later in my life that, you know, even though I was an athlete and worked out and was in the military and special operations and all that other stuff, your body, you know, repairs itself and you lose fat at night. And you have to get at least 7 hours of sleep for your body to go through that full repair and replenish cycle. And up until recently, I wasn't getting that because I was always on the grind. You know, before marriage, you know, I was an investment banker. I owned the nightclub and the bar. I was single, so I was chasing the ladies. So, you know, my nighttime activities were precluding me from getting proper rest. And then my daytime activities were precluding me from taking a nap. Yeah. So, like, I was making up for my sleep, you know, trying to on Saturdays and Sundays, but my club and my bar were open those nights. So, yeah, there's more self-care.
Yeah. What has been the toughest thing you've had to tackle, and what helped you get through it?
Being a father of 2 daughters. What helped me get through it really is just like prayer, consultation with the Creator and the girl's mother, as well as just seeing examples of other great fathers that I saw around me. And then even the bad fathers of what not to do. Because this society is fucked up, you know what I mean? And in that, like, you always want to protect your children, but you don't want to shelter them because they have to be able to defend themselves, you know, when they get older. And you want to start that foundation of being able to attack an issue, find a solution, and go forward, even as, you know, infants. But yeah, it's been my greatest difficulty and my biggest joy at the same time.
Nice.
You know, it's like taking a shot of tequila. It hurts going down, but then the feeling that you get once it's in your system is great.
Since you said that, where do you feel the most at home and happy?
Where do I feel the most at home and happy?
Yeah.
Literally on a Sunday or Friday or Saturday night, watching sports or a movie with my daughters on either side of me. Like, I suffer from PTSD, and they really help it not manifest itself because they just give me so much calm and solace and solitude. Because, I find myself sometimes just looking at them staring and smiling. I find myself sometimes going in their room when they're asleep, and kind of putting myself out there, like just start crying because they're such amazing human beings. And I'm so blessed that their mother was the vessel of such a great blessing. Like, that is the greatest gift that I could have ever received in my life. And I love them dearly.
Nice. What would you say are qualities or character traits that you admire in other people?
I mean, I grew up in the hood, so I always, the Italians say you're a stand-up guy. Your word is your bond. You do what you say you're going to do, and if you can't do it, you don't give any excuses of why. You keep people informed. I don't like people who do sucker shit. I don't like haters. I like congratulators. From the standpoint of, if tomorrow you hit the lottery and, went and bought, Real Madrid as a soccer team, I'm not going to, because I know you like soccer, I'm not going to be hating on the fact that, Mike bought Real Madrid. I'm going to be happy for you. If anything, I may be more happy than you. Be like, dog, that's my dog, man. He bought Real Madrid, cuz. Like, you don't even understand it. And I'm the person that, I'm not gonna ask you for no tickets and no gear like that. I just want to still be in your space and you don't forget about me. Be like, yo, that's my guy. He just bought Real Madrid. You ain't got nobody that that just bought a soccer team. You know what I mean? And just people keep it 100 and like be who you are. You know what I mean? Like, stay in your lane or lanes of who and what you're about. Like, you don't have to try too hard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't have to become a product of your environment that you're in different places and spaces. You can just be yourself. Those are the things that I admire.
Nice. So, time for a fun question. If you won the lottery tomorrow, what will you do?
Like one thing or a series of things?
A couple of things. You can go with a couple of things.
So I would pay off all the debt of my immediate family. Depending on how much I won, I would put an investment. I would make a trust a family trust, and leave all of my nieces and nephews X amount of dollars. So when they turn 30, whatever they wanted to do in their life that was their passion, they wouldn't have to worry about having to get a job that they can have a job that facilitates their passion. The dumb stuff, a nice house, a nice car, but my sneaker game would be on point and my wristwatch game would be serious. Like, I'm a car guy, but I'm not one of those guys who's like, yeah, I just won $100 million. I'm going to get a Bugatti. That's stupid. Why would I buy a $3 million car that's I can't even be driven the way it's supposed to be driven? But I could get like 20 dope ass watches for $3 million that very few people have. So much so that, if I got on a white tee and some jeans and some Timberlands and a Yankee cap, and I have on, a Vacheron Constantine minute repeater that's like $400,000, and somebody's, oh, that's a nice watch. Thanks, bro. Is that Kenneth Cole? Nah, it's just something. That type shit.
All right. Since you took it there, so you said your shoe game and your watch game would be on point. So what are your top 5 kicks? Let's do kicks first.
In terms of like sneakers,
Yeah,
any
all time.
Jordan 1s, I like most of the colorways as long as it's not like the goofy colorways. I like the gammas. I love any of the Asics by Kith, but he never makes them in a size 14 hot Bama. I love all of the crazy colorways of the New Balances. You know, living in the DMV, coming from New York, we never really rocked New Balance. So I finally, my frat brothers that live here, that are from here, got me into New Balance. And like Vans, like all the crazy custom Vans. Like I would love to have like a pair of like suede and like crocodile Vans. Yeah, just something ill.
So wow. All right. The way you said that reminded me of Ghost on Cuban Links when he was talking about the Wallabies. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
the cream
for
with the
sure.
cream.
Just all the flavors of the Wallabies, like the whole rainbow.
All right. So top 5 watches.
I'm a big Patek Philippe fan. I don't like when people bust them down and put diamonds in it. That is so déclassé. Unless the diamonds come from the factory, don't do it. Next would be Cartier. I love the Santos 100 chronograph. I like Audemars Piguet. I love Hublot. And I'm a big Frank Muller fan.
All right. Nice. It's a tough list. I noticed you didn't say the common, Rolex.
So Rolexes are beautiful, right? But here's the thing about that. You know, when I was in finance, you know, your first year as an advisor or an analyst or an associate, you know, you get your first bonus. Everybody gets the Datejust stainless steel blue and red dial. That shit is whack. That's the Me Too watch. And then when you really start to get money, you know, you get your first Submariner that's all gold. And those are nice watches. They're dope. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to say everybody. A lot of folks with money go to Rolex.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than an all gold master banker, Frank Muller. Just nothing.
Yeah.
That joint, because it's so big and it's you know, shaped, you know, in an oval. There's nothing better than that. You know what I'm saying? Again, you could rock that joint with a white tee, some Timberlands, some jeans, and a Yankee hat. Or you could have on a 3-piece Laura Piana cashmere alpaca fabric, you know, just killing it.
Yeah.
You can do it either way, you know what I mean? And I'm a big guy, so I like 44 better size watch faces. So, I mean, would I have a Rolex again if I hit the lottery? Yeah, like I love they have one that is oh my God. It's a Datejust. It's an oversized Datejust that has like the rainbow stones around it.
Yeah.
Like I like something like that. Just something goofy. Like
a bust down Paul Newman almost.
Right, and that comes from the factory, like
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many watch brands that are out there that folks are unaware of because they're not watch guys, and that's fine. But they go to like the basic stuff, and once people really realize like the rarity of Patek Philippe, and you know, and like the Nautilus was the entry level watch for the mid to upper class, you know what I'm saying, middle class, upper class guys. Then the rappers was like, oh, I want to get the Nautilus. Oh, I'm gonna bust it down. Oh, now they got the gold Nautilus. You know, like that to me. I mean, do your thing. I'm not knocking. I'm not hating. That's just not me. That's too much shine. I want to be able to wear a watch that, unless you're a watch aficionado, you won't know what I'm wearing. You'll just, oh, that's a nice gold watch. Thank you.
Yeah.
But when you walk in a room and somebody knows what you have on, you know, they're like, oh.
They'll give you the nod.
Like, okay, I see you.
Yeah. Indeed. All right. When I say forgiveness, what comes to mind?
God, He forgives me every day for my transgressions, because you know what I mean. I am a flawed individual, and I guess the blessing is that I know I'm flawed, and I can smell my own shit, and I work daily to be better.
Yeah.
But then there's something that I don't do well on. You know, I hold grudges. And more so for what people have done to my family and friends and then what they do to me. You know what I mean? So I pray for forgiveness from God to get me out of those grudges. But yeah, I'm working on that.
Nice. Okay. As you're a parent to two beautiful young ladies. What values are you hoping to imprint on them?
To live your truth, to know who and what you are and where you come from, the value of our name, like the Williamson name means something, and don't sully our name in the streets. Be honest, kind, charitable, forthright, have a yearn for learning. And you know, it's gonna sound cliche, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you would like to thank or express your appreciation for that you haven't had the chance to yet?
So I really wish I would have had the ability to have one more conversation with my mother before she passed away. This birthday is very serendipitous and emotional for me. My mother died in 2001 and she was 49, and I turned 49 this year. And so I am the quintessential mama's boy. And, you know, I really would like her to understand and how much I appreciated all the sacrifices she did as a single mom, all the things that she instilled in me that at the time I thought was some bullshit, that now I know was like the right thing. All the sacrifices and struggles that she made. And to dovetail off that, if I had one wish, I wish I could just have 24 hours for her to meet Kimberly, my wife, and my daughters, and just spend time with them so they could get to know who and what she was about, so they have a better understanding of who and what I'm about. Mm. Although I would like to spend the majority of the time with them, with her, that would be so selfish because I got to spend, 30 years with her. So I really would like them to be able to have that time with her so they could really understand, who and what I am and how I and why I act and do what I do.
Indeed, indeed. All right, for our final question, how do you define success?
Success for me is when whatever you do is not considered work or a job, and you long to wake up for the next day to go to whatever experience that is. When I was an investment banker, our managing director used to always say, "What's your number?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, what's your number that you need to have in the bank or an investment account where you would like say, okay, I'm done?" Some guys back in the 90s, oh, I need 50 million. Oh, I need 100 million. Oh, I need this. I need that. And he was like, "Errol, what's your number?" I was like, his name was Roger Boger. I was like, "Roger, I don't have a number." He was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Man, you got to understand where I come from." You know what I'm saying? First of all, I'm not supposed to be here. Statistically, growing up in the projects in the South Bronx in the 70s, I'm not supposed to be here. So that's a blessing in and of itself. My number is whatever amount that I need to be able to do what I want, when I want it, how I want it. I don't have to have the fanciest car. I don't have to have the biggest house. I don't have to have the best watch or the best kicks or whatever. But I remember growing up, like, okay, are we gonna get these leg quarters, or are we gonna get these chicken breasts? Because the leg quarters are much cheaper. So you eating dark meat all week, you know what I mean? Or we go out to dinner this week or next week when I get paid. I want to be able to have enough liquid cash or accessible cash to where, you know, if my daughters say, Dad, I really would like a steak, I don't have to take them to Applebee's, no knock on Applebee's, to get an Applebee's steak. I can say, good, let's go to Ruth Chris. And so there, I don't think that there's not a number that you can like quantify for that, because a lot of times we in our society, and especially the background I came from the streets as well as in the investment world, you hit that number, but you want to do something else. You hit that number, you want to do something else. You hit that number, you want to do something else. You know, I always tell kids that I mentored, you know, they're like, oh, I want to be worth $100 million. And then one kid's like, well, I want to be worth $500 million. Another kid, I want to be $200 million. So I asked them, so if you're worth $100 million or $500 million, what can't you get at $100 million that $500 million will get you? I mean, believe it or not, it's $400 million in between there. Somebody worth $100 million still can fly first class, still could rent a jet when they wanted to, could lease a yacht, drive a nice car, have a nice house. But at what point does that become a diminishing return and become a chore to manage all that money? But don't get it twisted. I would love to be Jeff Bezos, $200 billion for sure. But with too much is given, much is required. You know what I mean? Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Those are facts. Well, beautifully said. We connected.
Appreciate it.
We politic, and you know, we'll definitely do this again. I'm looking forward to the Errol show. So, you know, I'm sure we're gonna do this again in the near future.
I appreciate it, brother.